You know, for decades, the world of language teaching was basically a hunt for the one perfect method, the one silver bullet. But what happens when we call off the hunt? Today, we're jumping into a really cool article by Theodore S. Rogers that gives us 10 fascinating and honestly kind of surprising predictions for what teaching looks like now. So let's get into it.
I mean, this quote from H. Douglas Brown really just says it all, doesn't it? By the end of the 20th century, pretty much everyone agreed. The old way of thinking, where teachers were always looking for a single, magical method, that was done. Finished. This constant search for something new was just not working. And that, of course, created a huge question for everybody in education.
Exactly. If the age of methods is really behind us, then what does the future of teaching actually look like? Are we all just kind of winging it now, or is there a new philosophy taking shape? That's the big question we're going to try to answer today. Now, what's so great about the source material we're digging into is that it doesn't just give us one simple answer. Instead, it lays out 10 possible futures. Some of them are pretty logical. You can see how we're already heading that way. But others? Well, as the author himself puts it, they feel a little more like science fiction. It's a fantastic roadmap for what the classroom could be.
So here's the crucial point. It's all about this massive shift in thinking. The old age of methods was all about this rigid, one-size-fits-all search for a perfect system. But post-method thinking, that's all about being flexible. It's about understanding the core principles of what makes good teaching good, and then adapting them to your students and their needs. Think of it like a move from a strict rule book to a well-stocked toolkit.
All right, here we go. Let's get into the 10 predictions themselves. The author, Rogers, gave them some pretty fun, kind of tongue-in-cheek names, which I gotta say makes them way more memorable. Let's do a quick flyby of all 10.
Okay, so first up, teacher/learner collaboration, which is all about matching styles. Then we've got method synergistics, basically mixing the best parts of different methods. There's curriculum developmentalism, which says teaching is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Content basics, which is all about focusing on real meaning, not just grammar. Multi-intelligentsia, that's about playing to different students' strengths. Total functional response is a new take on teaching practical language. Then, strategedia. This one's super cool. It's about teaching students how to learn. Lexical phraseology focuses on learning language in chunks. Ozone whole language is all about a big picture view of language. And finally, full frontal communicativity. That one looks at everything involved in communication. Now, I know that's a ton to take in at once, so don't worry. We're going to zoom in and really unpack a few of the biggest ideas on this list.
First, let's talk about something we all want more of: personalization. A couple of these predictions are really all about ditching that old one-size-fits-all model. The idea is to either match up teachers and learners better, or to just mix up all the techniques to create the perfect custom blend for your classroom.
This first idea is just brilliant, and it's so simple. Think of it like matchmaking, for the classroom. We all know that different people learn in different ways, right? And teachers have different styles too. So, what if we could actually pair up teachers and learners who are just a natural, good fit? It's a game changer.
And check this out. This is how you can actually see that idea in action. Take a look at communicative language teaching. The learner is an improviser, and the teacher is a task designer. See how those two roles just click? But then compare that to total physical response. The learner's an order taker, and the teacher's a commander. Totally different vibe. You can see how finding the right pairing could make all the difference.
Okay, so matchmaking sounds great, but let's be real, you can't always just rearrange entire classes. Well, that's where this next prediction comes in: method synergistics. The whole idea here is to stop thinking about pure methods and instead cross-breed them. You get to be a bartender, creating a methodology cocktail by mixing the best ingredients from all the different approaches.
So, what kind of ingredients are we talking about? Well, here are just a few examples, called the big B's of the classroom, things a teacher can actually control. So you might grab the idea of buddies for peer support from one method, get the body involved with physical movement from another, and really work on building belief in your students from yet another. You're not just picking one method, you're taking the best of the best from all of them.
Now, the next big theme that keeps popping up in these predictions is this really fundamental shift in power. It's all about moving the spotlight away from what the teacher is doing and putting it right onto what the learner can do for themselves. It's all about student empowerment.
And this brings us to what might be my favorite term from this whole thing: Strategypedia. This isn't really a teaching method. It's more like a meta method. It's the practice of teaching students how to learn.
The goal is to give them actual, concrete strategies so they can become totally self-sufficient. It really is the ultimate teach a person to fish approach to education.
So what does that look like in the real world? Here's a perfect example, the keyword technique for learning new words. Let's say you want to learn that pato is Spanish for duck. Okay, step 1. You hear pato, and you think of an English word that sounds kind of like it, like pot. Then, and this is the magic part, you create a crazy mental image linking those two things. Just picture a duck waddling around with a cooking pot on its head like a helmet. It's silly, it's vivid, and it works.
And get this isn't just some cute little trick. The data here is pretty wild. The source actually notes that studies have found techniques just like this one can be up to 3, sometimes even 4 times more effective for learning and remembering vocabulary. That's a massive difference, all from just giving a learner the right strategy.
So let's zoom back out. When you pull all these ideas together, the matchmaking, the cocktails, teaching strategies, you start to see a really clear picture emerge. The future of teaching is not about finding one single narrow path and marching everyone down it. I think this quote from James Nadinger just absolutely nails it. What he's saying is that a lot of the time we're not building language from scratch, rule by rule. We're just grabbing ready-made units, phrases and chunks we already know and piecing them together. Our learning should be like that too. It should be about building a huge, flexible collection of tools.
And that right there is the big takeaway. The whole conversation has shifted, removing away from that rigid, top-down age of methods and into a future that's all about being flexible, integrated, and totally focused on the learner. The goal isn't to find the perfect method anymore. It's to help every single teacher and every single learner build their own perfect toolkit.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. These were all presented as future predictions way back in the year 2000, but how many of them sound pretty familiar? Which of these ideas, like mixing methods or teaching learning strategies or personalizing lessons, do you already see happening? It really makes you think, maybe the future is already here.